Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Let's start the grass adventures, or continue them, I suppose. So, last week and this week so far has been a lot about just improving the overall visuals of the grass. I think we have done a pretty good job, and that's actually what we're gonna continue doing today. And depending on how it goes, we might move on to some other tasks starting tomorrow or maybe even on Friday. But I still have a few tasks left concerning the grass before I can accept the visuals for this iteration so far. And much like yesterday, so yesterday the focus was on simulating ambient occlusion. So the taller the grass, the darker the ground on the grass, and I think actually led to some very good results. Let me see if I can show it here real quick. So the improvement actually included a few different things, but one of the things that gave the best result was actually, let's see here, let's paint it here maybe. So there was actually a few different things that led to this good result we got, but the biggest one definitely was the just darkening the color. So I think the changes this week includes, so shadows, the closer to the ground the shadow is, the more intense it will be. So shadow projected on a grass straw at the top of a grass straw won't be as dark as a shadow projected down on the ground of the grass. We also reduce the ambient light. So the closer to the ground we are, the less ambient light. The higher up on a grass straw, the more ambient light. But the biggest change was definitely just making the color a little bit darker. So we have this one, grass lower color multiplier. So this is the color we multiply the bottom of the grass with. And then we have grass lower to upper exponent. And I think this one gave the biggest result. So this is like, this one decides how far up along the grass blade how quick we should fade to the grass straw color as opposed to the grass lower color multiplier. This is how it was previously, and you can see that all of the grass is pretty light. And if we change to a new setup, we can see here that the short grass stays light, but towards the lower part of the tall grass it gets a little bit darker, i.e. simulating ambient occlusion. And honestly, like, it's just Just a tiny improvement, but I think it does a lot. I think it's most visible like in this area right about here. And of course, like this simulating ambient occlusion leads to a little bit more realism with the grass. So we might want to, I still want to keep the ambient occlusion, but we might want to stylize it a bit more later on to better fit the character. Although it has always been the goal to let the environment be more realistic compared to the character. But yeah. So what we're gonna do today, or start with today at least, is to make the ground a tiny bit more upper grass colored when terrain data G is low. So that means that it's pretty much the opposite of what we did yesterday. While we made the ground darker for tall grass, we now, in an area like this for instance, we want to make the ground color a little bit brighter. So if we have this type of grass for instance, we might want to make, this is pretty much worst case scenario, but we might want to make this dark green here a little bit brighter, or a little bit more like the actual grass color. We're gonna try, see what happens at least. Indeed it does, Cooler SK, indeed it does. So that's the first task. Like, we started looking into it yesterday, turned out that like when it comes to this grass shader right now, we have a lot of different values that affects in different ways. And I thought it would be a little bit easier to achieve what we're trying to achieve here with the short grass than it turned out to be. But it all comes down to, we just have to analyze exactly how we do it right now and add some variable multiplication in the right place. And then I also want to do this. So yesterday we introduced light exposure variable, and it's this one that helps with the ambient occlusion in the tall grass. Unfortunately, this one does not depend on camera distance right now. So if we run away and we start culling grass like this, this grass patch now renders less grass straws, hence showing more of the bottom of the grass patch, which means that we get a overall darker color, more like darker than we want. Like, we pretty much want to simulate this but with less grass straws. So it's all about, the further away we are, the less we want this color exposure to actually affect the bottom. I think it's even more visible if we run even further apart. Can we get another culling level here? Yeah, we can see it from this, the grass behind that grass. So yeah, but like, both of these problems are pretty straightforward. So let's see what we can do about them. Good morning, Harukanon. So as for the first problem, make the ground a tiny bit more upper grass colored when terrain data G is low. So we can start by changing, in the geometry shader we actually have two different methods. One for generating geometry for the ground, and one for generating geometry for the grass straws. So two different methods. This is the function that tells us what color the ground should have. So we can start with this one, and what we do here is we have this color variable or argument to the method, this is a color that, so when we enter the geometry shader, we calculate a world position where the grass straw should be, and then we randomize a color based on some setup for that grass straw. This color variable here, or argument, is that color. So the grass straw generated at this ground position will have this color at the top. We just take this one into account when we choose the color for the whole ground. Like, we multiply this one with grass. So we do a lerp here. If this one is 0, we choose grass lower color multiplier. If this one is 1, we choose grass upper color multiplier multiplied with a grass lower color decrease multiplier. This one is, actually, let's take a look at that one. But first of all, so grass upper color multiplier is just white right now. And grass color decrease multiplier where do we have this one? Yeah, so this is part of mesh and optimization properties. I wonder, actually, this might be grass lower color decrease multiplier 0.5. I'm actually very intrigued by this one. So for the plane, we don't do anything weird with it, but we use it more, we use it in the exact same way here. I wonder if this is just one of those legacy values that has kept hanging around, because, okay, so this one is 0.5. So what we do is we do grass upper color multiplier, we multiply it by 0.5. We never change this variable. So if we select this one to be 1, you could just get a little bit of a brighter light. So I think, or we could do, if we keep it at 1, or if we keep it at, yeah, if we put it to 1, and then we take this one and we do 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. I'm very intrigued by this one. Yeah, okay, so what we want to do is, okay, we have this one. I find it weird that we do half for all color values. And then we change this one to 1. Doesn't really do that much. Okay. Okay, yeah, I get it. Probably gonna rename this one. I wonder, however, if... Okay. Yeah, so for the ground, we just use it. Like here, we could replace this one with 0.5 and reduce this one, or we could set this one to 1 and reduce this one by half. But we also use this one here, because this one basically tells us this is a grass lower color multiplier that we calculate based on distance. And the idea with this one is that we want to make the grass a little bit lighter the further away we are. Okay, so we still need to take that one into account. But I think this shader would become a little bit clearer with like renaming some of the variables. But okay, if we jump to the ground, basically what we want to do here is we lerp between grass lower color and this one then. And we choose either this one, or we interpolate to them based on the distance light correction constant. So what we want to do is we have two approaches to this, I would say. We could either choose to alter this color based on distance from camera, so the color we calculate in the geometry shader, or we could do these calculations in the geometry shader. Starting to think. I wonder which one is the best approach. Okay, when it comes to the light exposure variable, right now we base it on terrain data. Yeah, okay, so in this example, light exposure variable, let's say that we have the tallest grass possible. That means that this one will be 0, and this one is 1. And then we multiply grass light exposure boundary y, need to rename this one as well, with input color dot a. This alpha is 1 at the top of the grass, 0 at the bottom. So I guess we would also like to include distance to camera here. So let's say, for instance, that we're extremely close to the grass, then we want this one to be this value. If we're extremely far away from the grass, we want this one to also be closer to 1. So how do we want to achieve this? I want to achieve this with variables we already have. And use here. Distance to grass origin. Yeah, here we have distance. We can use this one. I don't think we do anything with this one though. We don't want to use this one. I guess we want to do, let's see here. Yeah, we want to use this one, so we can do this one we don't use, this one we don't use. View direction world space float view distance world space is equal to input do we have I have googled this distance HLSL. Yeah, thank you. So we want to do something similar here. Ron said, what up, by the way? How much time do you estimate will be needed to complete the game? And the game is looking great, mate. Thank you, appreciate it. Keep up the hard work. We'll try to. So, as to the first question, to complete the game, I have no such estimate. But although a very optimistic estimate, I'm hoping to have a vertical slice next year, probably Q3 or Q4. That's a goal at least. I still think it might be possible. And then I also have I have some estimation on when I think I can release something that other people can play, and hopefully I will get something out there possibly this year, but that will mostly just be Terraform related, so creating a nice garden pretty much. So let's calculate this one here, and then we use this one here. Yeah, this was a quick anti-aliasing solution that worked. It did its job. Ron said, looking forward to it. Good luck, bro. Thank you, appreciate it. Good luck with your projects as well. So, let's take a quick look at the problem we're actually trying to solve here. It's related to popping, I would say. So you can see this line appearing now where the color becomes darker, right? We're trying to reduce the effect of this one. And the variables we work with, they are in, what should I call it, float space, like non-truncated. The problem we're solving is actually truncate based. So the number of graphs we have is based on the subdivision of the underlying geometry. The subdivision is whole numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And that's why we're getting this wave. So our solution to this is actually going to be based on distance to camera, which is a floating value. So we can actually tint it. So the further away we are, the lighter we make it. It will affect when we run away, but will reduce this popping here, hopefully. We'll see. What's up, Arnav? So let's pause this one here and take a look. We have subdivision bounds, subdivision camera distance bounds, and then we also have grass subdivision camera distance bounds. Jesus, I need to rename a lot of these variables, I think. But let me try and explain this. So grass subdivision, this one also rely on, no, actually this one decides how much geometry are we using per grass blade, and it's based on grass fidelity. So I think grass fidelity high means that we're using 8 quads per grass blade. So that means that we're using 8 quads when we're at a distance of 0 from the grass blade, and then we decrease it 7, 6, 5 down to 0 if we're at 100 meters from the grass straw. This one, we don't care about that much about this one right now. This is not the one we're focusing on, it's these two. Rega JFC, what's up, by the way? What game are you making? And it will come soon. It won't come out soon, but I'm making a, and thank you for the follow as well, appreciate it. I'm trying to make like a creature collecting and management game, but like the initial game won't be getting out in the world catching creatures. It will be more about taking care of a plot of land in such a way that creatures wants to come to you and live there, and then you need to take care of them. So It's heavily inspired by a game called Viva Pinata. It's sorta inspired by Chow Garden in Sonic, and a little bit inspired by Tamagotchi, if any of those references ring a bell. So, the variables we are more interested in here, for this problem we're trying to solve, is subdivision bounds, and both of these are vector force, but we're actually only using the two variables, or the x and y for both of these. Subdivision bounds pretty much tells us how much should we subdivide the ground mesh, or how many grass straws do we want to draw in a certain area. Subdivision camera distance bounds, this one relates to subdivision bounds, so if we're 10 meters or less from the grass straw or the ground, then we subdivide the ground 3 times. I wonder if it's actually 2 to the power of 3. We're gonna double check that one. And if we're a distance of 100 meters or more away from the ground, then we subdivide it 0 times. If we're between 10 and 100 meters, we interpolate between 3 and 0. But once again, these are whole numbers, so we will only get 3, 2, 1, 0. And that's the reason why we're getting this popping. So what we're seeing here is actually the subdivision going from, could it be 3? Yep, possibly. Yeah, it's actually going from a subdivision constant of 3 down to 2. Right? So this means that we want to base how light we make the ground here, or how much light we let through, or we want to base the light exposure variable on these variables. So we want the light exposure multiplier to be 1 if we're less than 10 or 10 meters away from the grass. We want it to be 0 if we're 100 or further away from it, and then we want to interpolate it between these two variables. We're back in the 90 with Tamagotchi, or however you spell it. Indeed, we are, Wesley. Good morning, by the way, or good evening. I loved my Tamagotchi when I got one. But here's the kicker. We also want to inverse the light exposure. So or we can say it like this instead. Light exposure variable. We want this one to be 1 when we're 100 meters or further away from the grass, and we want this one to be equal to this when we're 10 meters or less from the grass, and then we want to interpolate this between this one and 1, depending on that one. So we can do float light exposure minimum is equal to lerp between I guess we can do 1.0 minus terrain data.g 1.0, and the value, the t in our lerp here, is probably going to be an inverse lerp between, what's the name of this, subdivision camera distance bounds. dot x subdivision distance camera bounds dot y, and then what did I name it? Distance to camera world space or something like that. View distance world space. But then again, yeah. So if this one is, what is it, 45, for instance, then we do an inverse lerp between 10 and 100. So this one will be equal to 0.5, which means that we will be between these two values for this one. Do we have an issue here, by the way? Light exposure variable. Yeah, I probably forgot one of these. So then we want to take this one, light exposure minimum, and we want to replace this one. And hopefully that will do it. But I'm actually going to do it like this. And we're going to take this one and replace it here. So now we calculate, or we define light exposure variable twice, but the idea is that we're going to do this. So now it's this one, the old one, that is the one we use. And let's see, then we get something like this. Actually, I wonder if I want to see this in real time, because if we do, we use the new one. Do we actually get any difference whatsoever? Let's do, we have a debug variable, so let's do if debug show grid is bigger than 0.5, else so if the bug is bigger than 0.5, then we use the new approach. If it's not, we use the old approach. And then we do okay, interesting. We don't get any change whatsoever. Is interesting. Okay, we don't get any difference whatsoever because our view direction world space is just, or view distance is just pure white. View distance world space. Yeah, then I want to check. I'm wondering if it's this one that is the problem. That this one hasn't been instantiated, possibly. So we're gonna do... Let's make sure that's the case. XYZ. Or... float 4. 1.0. I think this one works. So, world space camp. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that this one is included in this one. In object space, I don't know. This one once again. calculate world position or world view direction ourselves. So let's see how we do that. Here we actually use this one. And I think that works. Okay, so what am I missing here? Okay, we return this one now. Let's see what we get if we do. Let's disable that one and just bring it down. I find this to be extremely weird. 0. Should be getting a different color on our terrain here. World space camera position, it pretty much just returns 010, it looks like right now. Fuck, yeah, we use it here. Weird. Okay, there we go, nice. Okay, so it works. Let me try and return. Let's return inverse lerp. Let's return this one. Yeah, that works. That works great. So in this black sphere, we render everything with full fidelity. And that's the clipping we see. And then we should have okay, so that's very good. We know that this one works. this one not so much. What's up, Toto Apps? How are you doing today? I want to check this one as well. Subdivision distance camera bounds. Yeah, one thing. Subdivision camera distance bounds, or it actually becomes lighter, but not at the speed which we want. Okay. It's pretty much black in the center there, and then it becomes lighter, 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 but not in the speed we want, I think. But almost. So we can check it by doing light exposure minimum 0.5 multiplied by this one. Way better. But let's see. Almost. That is great. This is the gradient change we want. So if we're very close, the light exposure minimum value for these tall grass is 0. So right at the bottom of this tall grass we will get 0 light exposure. And unless the shorter the grass is, and the further away we move, the more light we will accept there. But right now it's the popping still occurs, I think. Yeah, but it's way better. I wonder if there exists. Yeah, if we just reduce this one a tiny bit more, 0. If we go half, I think it's too much. Or is it? I want to see how this looks with here we go, two apps. Here's the color back. Let's see, do we have debug show grid is 1, and now if we run away from this, still extremely visible, but honestly think that, let's go to, which one is, it's this one we're testing the most, I think. So if we take the bug show grid, yeah, definitely, but it's not enough. But as far as light exposure variable goes, I think this is the correct way to do it. Not a very big fan of this. We do have grass light exposure boundary. We use it here. So let's do grass light exposure boundary 0.8 we don't use, we use 1. Yeah, so we pretty much don't use this one, right? We only use the Y in it, and the Y is at 1. So we should be able to do and if so, I don't think we need the saturation. So we're gonna do 1 here, which means that this one is always true. Arnav, will you release this game on Steam? Yeah, that's the idea. Okay, it's a little bit better, but still rough. And it's rough mostly because of the color. So if we would decrease this one, yeah. If we decrease this one on distance, yeah, we still get popping, that's true. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think the most important part we can do is the further away from the camera, the more we want. Further away from the camera we are, the less we want this one. We already do something like that here though. Yeah, definitely. So if we're close to the camera, we don't do any change. If we're far away, we do a lot of change. Yes. That's much better. So this instead of this. But then again, 0.5 grass level color decrease multiplier. I don't think we want to use it like this, honestly. Wonder if we want to do 0.5 multiplied with this one, and here we keep okay, so this is how it used to be, right? Yes. Still have this problem. what we want to do instead, so this is mostly, I need to check this, is it mostly, what we want to do instead of changing this value, controlling this value, we want to make this one lean more towards this value based on distance. Arnav, thank you so much for your kind words. Consistency is king. I would honestly like to do something like what is T subdivision actually? T subdivision saturate, yeah. We don't need the saturate here, I don't think. We're doing we do, but anyway, subdivision distance. Okay, so what we're calculating here, T subdivision, this is actually, yeah, it is T subdivision. But do we have T subdivision? We have T subdivision both here and here. So basically what I think I want to do is grass lower column multiplier. I don't want to screw this up, so I wonder if I want to do float for minimum grass lower color multiplier is equal to lerp if T subdivision is 0, we're close to the camera, otherwise we're far away from the camera. So the other way around here. If we're far away from the camera, make the minimum grass lower color multiplier be equal to this one, otherwise this one. And then we use this one here, I suppose. Still weird about this one though. It's weird. What's up, Fabic? How are we doing today? Yeah, we get it roughly. Whoops, fuck me. I think. we're getting too light of a color. What do I actually do here? I wonder. So this is the result we had. What's up, Factbuster? Yo, yo, yo. Okay, so we actually had the problem of going too bright. But this is fog affecting it as well. I want to do... Let's see, I want to see the difference between... Yeah, let's focus on the ground only, and then we do if the bug show grid is less than 0.5. Do this. Otherwise, T subdivision. Okay, let's see. Let's set this one at 0 then. How long it will take to make this game, I have no idea. A long time, probably. Yeah, that's how we want to do it. Definitely. That's way better. So close up, we don't get any difference between the two. Further away, do we have a tiny bit of a difference? Still a little bit too bright there, but yeah, okay. So this is actually how we want to do it. Debug show grid 0. Okay, so debug show grid 0, it's The best result is if this one is 0. So it's the old approach. Is it only because of this one? Starting to think it is. Grass colorized bounds. Yeah, the only problem I have with this one is this little line here. This one is 1 extremely far away, 0 close by. Yeah, probably just want to skip this one, honestly. So if we would be doing 0.5 times this one. What's up, Paige? How are you doing today? I still have the problem with Good, got some actual work to do for the day job. Good luck with that. There's so many variables taking place here. What the hell? Color. definitely most worried about it getting too bright. But I think we're going to simplify this a bit. These two yield the same result now, so this one, let's see, 1, 0. Nah, this one actually... I think 1 gives the better result, and it's... No, 0 gives the better result. This is weird. Or does it? One. Nah, 1 gives the better result. Pretty sure. Yeah. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, let's simplify it a bit. I'm all for simplifying. So then I guess we don't need... Ah, fuck, we do it on... Honestly, I don't think we care about this one. Yeah, we're still going way too bright here. Why are we going way too bright? Yeah, because we still do a lot of things here. T subdivision, grass lower color. Yeah, color multiplier here. This one can actually be Lower color multiplier, upper multiplier. Like the problem I'm having, or the problem I'm seeing, we're going too bright here, right? How... Why the fuck are we getting this bright? This is where we want to go. This one doesn't affect it. Grass upper color multiplier. T to the power of... Yes! Do we actually just want to saturate this? So I thought. But actually, possibly, but it's most definitely T subdivision. I think we saturate this one. Yeah, we do. So here we output the ground color. It can never be brighter than 0.5 times grass upper color multiplier up here. So I think it has to be, it's the ground color, but I wonder if it's in the fragment shader. Fabric, remove the power. No. No. Okay, so the power calculation here, it has to do with... Actually, honestly, the saturate here is weird as hell. We don't need to saturate. The power here is to make the linear interpolation from the bottom of the grass straw to the top of the grass straw non-linear, basically. So... yeah, we interpolate from grass lower color to grass upper color linearly following the grass straw, unless if this is equal to 1, then it's a linear interpolation. If this one is 2, we make the transition quicker, I think. Yeah, like, honestly, the code is a mess, so I've been misunderstanding it multiple times. But I think the issue we're having now, too bright a color extremely far away, has to be in the fragment shader. Fucking hell. Can light exposure variable become... Yeah. There we go. Sorta good transition. Still has this one. This one is a mess still. Yeah. Okay, so the only thing we have done now, I think we have simplified it a tiny bit. But not much else. So with the simplification in place, let's see if we can fix this culling issue here. We want to make the color less dark around here. Peach, can you extract this behavior in its own function? What behavior? Like... Maybe. We can see if we can simplify it. And Fabi, can you introduce a threshold variable that would check if the grass color is too bright? Yeah, the problem was I'm not entirely used to... So one key difference between a lerp in HLSL, if we check here, I checked this yesterday. Still getting used to it, honestly. And then we check mathf lerp Unity. Mathf lerp. So we do a linear interpolation between A and B. This is between 0 and 1, right? Or we can send in higher and lower values. The most important part is this one. In mathf, Unity mathf lerp, this method call always clamps the parameter t. So if we send in something bigger than 1, it gets clamped to 1. So we will never get a value. When we call this method, we will never get a value below this one or above this one. Lerp in HLSL doesn't have that, to my understanding. So it just linearly interpolates between X and Y, which means that we can, if we send in 2, then we get a higher value than Y. If we send in minus 0.5, we get a lower value than X. And that was the problem with the too bright color. Like when we did lerp, we sent in a value that was bigger than 1. The interpolation gave us something that was bigger than Y. And that's why we do saturate on this one. Saturate pretty much just clamps it. So So yeah, so whenever we do lerp, we just want to make sure that the interpolation variable we send in is clamped between 0 and 1. Okay, Peach, no, I wrote when you were talking about lerping. So which of the lerping? So you mean this one? Not entirely sure I understand. This one is still rough. I wonder if it's only... If you take this patch, is it this one? Yeah, it is. Grass width to distance multiplier, okay. This one helps a bit, but it won't fix the issue. No problem at all, Fabic. It's good for me to repeat it as well. Like always when I do lerp, I've learned to rely on the input T being clamped, but that is not always the case. I've learned. So it's this one we want to interpolate, I think. Yeah, it is. Or we want to make it more... Okay, let's take a look. There's so much going on in this shader. Fragment, color. Yeah. Okay, so it is... I don't think this one is enough. If we change this one to 1.0, actually let's do, yeah, debug show grid, we don't use that one. Let's try and use debug show grid. It's just a debug value, and we put that one here as well. So 0.5 is how it is. Yeah, this one helps a lot. A lot. Then again, 0.5. I think we want a quicker change. 1. Honestly, I think we want to bind this value to like the second we remove grass, that's when we want to make the grass that is left brighter, right? So having it tied to, let's see here, T subdivision, where do we have you? T subdivision, inverse lerp. Yeah, we want to bind it to tessellation, subdivision. How do we calculate this one? Round lerp between subdivision bounds y, t. T is saturate inverse lerp. This one. Okay. This one we calculate. This is T subdivision. Down in the geometry shader. We want to calculate subdivision. So this one tells us how many times we subdivide the ground. And this one is an integer, like, so it goes like 3, 2, 1. Or actually 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, and so on. So I'm wondering if we want to do this, and then we want to base. So instead of gradually changing the darkest color the further away we run, we instantly change it when we get this popping. So right here, we will change it by a multiplier. Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. The idea is, like, a very tall grass here is very dark towards the bottom. The further away we are, the lighter we want to make it towards the bottom, but we don't want to do it gradually, we want to do it instantly using integers, basically. Mm. But then again, yeah. Light exposure variable. This I think is okay. This one we can base gradually change like we do here. Yeah, so it's this one. Yeah, let's try it. Let's go to the tessellation shader. We take all of these calculations. And we jump down to this one. And let's see here, what do we have? We have T, saturate, inverse lerp, this one, this, so we can see distance to camera, yeah. If we do this actually. And then we do this, yeah. So T is actually T subdivision. Then we do lerp between subdivision bounds, T subdivision, and then we do subdivision like this. Yeah, let's keep it like this. So this is a variable. It's going to be zero. It's going to be either 2 to the power of, so it's either going to be 0, 2, 4, sorry about that, or 8. Unfortunately, Cooler SK, it was coffee. But believe me, I'm trying to revert back to tea only again. But it's hard. It is hard. And then I wonder if we can use that multiplicator to do some nice popping here. So subdivision, let's send it in to this one. We have a lot of variables here. Is it anything we don't use? UV, T subdivision, grass subdivision, wind, color, ground normal. Ooh, ground normal. This one we don't use. Subdivision, float. So here we send in subdivision. tea is better than coffee. I agree. Everything. I like everything with tea more than coffee, except for the caffeine amount. And I have tried some teas with very much caffeine, but just haven't found them to be the same. It affects the taste in weird ways. Okay. So I guess what we want to do is I wonder if we can just do T subdivision multiplied by T subdivision. Or that's not exactly what we want to do. What do we use? T subdivision. T subdivision once again. Yeah, that's distance to the camera. Let's go and do inverse lerp. I'm just gonna that's actually not true. 8. This one jumps from 0, 1, 2, 4, 8. So we will get, this one will result in 0, 1 eighth, 1 fourth, 1 half, 1. Makes it worse. Brew yourself a strong tea from 2 bags and we get similar results to coffee. And maybe I should try that. What is happening here? Debug. Oh. Oh. Ah. We get this weird thing going on as well, but whatever. Inverse lerp. Cooler SK, maybe you should try QRT. Maybe. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I'm gonna make a run. I have a small list now of tea recommendations, and if I'm entirely what's the English word? Yeah, if I'm not sick this weekend, I'm gonna run to the local tea shop here and purchase them. What's up, Asmit10? I think it was 3 years ago since I first put the pen to the paper, pretty much. Yeah, this one screws it up a lot. We get way bigger. What the fuck is up with this? How is it possible? Yeah, okay, this one becomes too bright too early, definitely. This is more the original colored one. 8, is that too much? 2 to the power of 3. It should be. This one is weird. T subdivision, beautiful result. Beautiful result, except for this. Fabric, I recommend getting any gunpowder white tea. Who would have known that the world of tea was this big? Gunpowder. I'm just gonna write these down. Colorless game, maybe you can teach Spyos how to make shaders for his planet so he doesn't have to use spaghetti code overlay thing. I don't actually know exactly how he has solved his the planets. What's up, Norin Dev? How are you doing today? T subdivision, this one screws my mind, honestly. Let's see here. T subdivision, this one is 1 when we're far from the camera and 0 when we're close to the camera. What the fuck? Yeah, this one is... Subdivision is big when we're close to the camera. And... Okay. So if we do this, do we actually want to do 1 minus? Or, yeah, 1 minus this one? Almost, I think. Norin Dev, I'm pretty good. A little bit sick still, but other than that, I'm good. Thank you for asking. How about you? Cooler Skates used a whole bunch of shaders mixed up to make spherical looking texture and moves with bunch of pearly noise. That doesn't sound too bad. Okay, this is way better. Jesus, look at this. The popping is still there, but it's way better, I would say. Still need to improve it a tiny bit. Ooh. This one we haven't changed, have we? Why is this one so much better? Yeah, still sick indeed. Sucks. Asmith 10, yeah, I concentrate a lot on visuals right now. That's just the way I enjoy working on this, honestly. I like to develop the mechanics together with the visuals. I know it's not the classical way or not the best way to do things. But that's how I've learned to love to do things. Yeah, the grass remains undefeated indeed. This one bothers me a bit. So for grass like this... But it looks to be going... It's too bright. 4... Yeah, we want to do 4. 1 minus saturating burst slurp. It's extremely dark at one part, which sucks. Better, I think, but still not. Is it actually... Let's do this. And jump to... 0.25. What's up, Little Miss Murder? If you have a choice, always work on the things you feel like doing, because you will be more productive and achieve a state of flow. Indeed. So listen here, like, I would love this to be my entire, like, my living, but right now it's like I do it a lot out of joy. And like I've developed games in the past where I did quote things the way you should, unquote. Like, first you develop the full game mechanics and then you start worrying about visuals. And I just found that to be so goddamn boring. Like, honestly, I have, like, most of my projects I've stopped working on halfway through was because they got stale. Because I only worked on the mechanics until they were entirely done and then started doing visuals. Never came to the visual part. So now it's more like, I want to fix this grass to an acceptable state, then I want to flip over to do some mechanic implementations, and then I want to fix the visuals for those mechanics and then jump to the next thing, you know? Like, I want to enjoy working on this project. Let's see, what do we have now if we run away? A little bit too dark, possibly. Fucking hell. Let's see. Let's put it here. And we run to about here, maybe. And then we check this one. Yeah, I think it's better, but it's not acceptable. Yeah, we need to base it on... Let's take a look at this. So a 0.5 value works for a patch like this. We can check here, it looks much better. But if we do a patch like Actually, let's put it here. If we do it for a patch like this, bad angle. It's still acceptable, possibly. Way better. Compare this to this with this to this. Zero point 25. Do we even want to go even lower? No, we don't want to go lower, but we want to go a little bit higher, maybe 35. Yeah, much better. Love it. Getting the grass to look good from far away as well, when you have much less geometry, is the hardest part, I would say. Much better. Yeah. And then if we can get the animation working when we cull the grass amount, ooh, it's gonna be good. Yeah. It's a bit better. Let's see. Fabric, by the way, maybe rotate the sun and see how it looks when the light moves. Yeah, definitely, we're gonna do that. Little Miss Murder, and the important thing to remember is that you're learning the engine as you go along. There is no right or wrong way. There's only what is right or wrong for you. I like the message of that. Definitely. Good morning, Desai. I want to double check one more thing. I want to double check the changes from yesterday so that they still affect the grass in ways we want. I think, yeah, it definitely does. So it's lighter on the top, beautiful. Darker down here. Let's see. So yesterday we had it like this. Now we have it like this. Yeah, way better. And let's play around with the sun. I think it should. Yeah, we want to stand and look here. Should, I think the light shouldn't affect it. Jesus. This is even better than I anticipated. What the hell? Move the sound to the other side. And then it becomes darker here. Jesus. I don't know how I feel about this one here, maybe. Yeah. This I love. When you get... So I guess it's the... I wouldn't really call it mountains. But so when the mountains cast a shadow partly over the grass. Ooh, this is rough though. What do we have here? I guess some sort of shadow issue. The question is if it's grass related or not. But if we go a little bit nicer, I think it's acceptable. Can probably do some nice fixes for that one as well. Glutax, what up? How good do you want your grass to look? Question mark. Yes. Yeah. That is honestly the mindset. But like, we're gonna move away from grass soon. So like, yeah, soon. This still, it's still not perfect when we clip it like this, but oh, we have a nice algorithm for fixing this popping. I just need to be able to be good enough to implement it. But we have one thing that I notice now. Why our mountains are getting shadowed like this. That's not good. I think it has to do with the normals. But I don't think I've changed that. Let's see. Normal. Normal decrease multiplier 0. Yeah, okay. So, as I've said multiple times, like, the further away we look on the grass, or whatever it is, the grass, we tilt the normals to be towards the viewer. It's just a hack to make the lighting look good, basically. But this one seems to screw up the ground as well, which I thought it wouldn't. I thought we had a check in place for that. Play normal decrease multiplier. We use it in one place here. So okay, we do it here. T subdivision. Yeah, this affects the ground. Yeah, so let me just explain this real quick. I've explained it a few times, but where do we have the sun? We have it here. Okay, so if we look at grass from this direction, the sun will hit the grass sides of the grass blades. The sun is behind us now, so this side of the grass will appear lighter than this side of the grass when we see the back sides of the grass straws compared to the sun. Can I bring down the sun to make it more apparent? Darker grass, lighter grass. And this is all good. When we have geometry in place, the normals of the newly generated geometry helps us achieve this looking brighter, because we hit the side of the geometry facing the sun, and the opposite is true for the other side. But when we scroll out, this is still rough. Maybe. Now we don't have any geometry here, so now we need to simulate that the geometry is looking towards the sun, and that's what's happening here. But we also need to take into account terrain data, which we no longer do. So decrease multiplier. So we want the taller the grass we have, the more we want this to be true. View direction. Do I want to invert this one? Have I done this the wrong way? Anyway, this one is 0 for no grass. So all of this will be 0. It's 1 for a lot of grass. So then all of this would be... yeah. No grass, we return this one. Anything bigger than no grass, we return more towards this one. I think that's how I want to do it. At this point, the grass is the main feature of the game. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, I think that's better. Although I wonder... yeah, exactly. So now we render this as if we see the back side of the grass. Now we render it as if we see the front of the grass. So we're lighting it differently. And now we keep the normal to be where we don't have any grass. We keep the normal looking up, I guess, suppose, in relation to the terrain. Yeah, we're starting to get to an acceptable state here, I would say. Much brighter, much darker. Where do we have the sun? Up there, yeah. Much and much. It's a little bit of a difference at least. Glutex, I've not been here for long, but I haven't seen anything else than grass shader work. We're gonna move on to other stuff soon. Popping still bothers me a bit, but it's way better. Way better. Yeah. So, but need some tall grass to encounter some creatures, I guess. It's more going to be if your garden looks like this compared to if your garden looks like this, you're going to attract different type of creatures. So some creatures will like tall grass, some creatures will like short grass. Some creatures won't like grass at all, and so on. I'm still not liking this very much. I wonder if I want to be... Yeah, maybe that's better. Good morning, PG King. What I want to get rid of most of all is let's see. This is actually not too bad. It's not too bad. I think we're gonna keep it like that. Are we? Yeah. Let's see. Like, I'm wondering, I'm starting this one we still have left, but this one is done, I would say. Honestly, when this one is done, then we're gonna leave the grass shader for a while. Nor Endeavor, where can I get that grass shader? We'll see in the future. We'll see in the future. The idea is to make a first of all make a video about it, then release it. Okay, but if we can complete this one, then we can leave this task for a while, I would say. Yeah. I don't know what the hell is happening. That should be... possibly still going a bit too dark. Possibly. Yeah, I know why. Debug show grid. We're going too dark. When it's short grass, and we're going... Yeah, we're not going dark enough. So for tall grass it works. Might be going a bit too dark there as well, actually. Yeah, 0.5 is where we want to be. Yeah, okay, so this is the problem. For tall grass, we're going roughly the correct amount. For short grass, however, we're going too dark. But we're gonna wait 1 second with that one. I just want to check. Going too dark with short grass. Debug show grid and roughly the correct amount with tall grass. We need to make this one depend on if the grass is tall or short. That's about it. Yo, what's up, Derek? Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday so far. It's going pretty good. We're still fighting with the grass, but like every little small iteration makes it look better and better and better and better. You know how it is. Today the focus has mostly been on reducing the popping effect. So reducing the artifacts we get when we don't render as much grass geometry. But before we do this fix, I want to implement this one, because this one might actually help us a bit. So the idea is that when we have short grass, we want to make the bottom of the grass a little bit lighter. So we don't want, we already do that to some extent, but okay. So the other thing we have done is, if we have taller grass, we make this darker. And if we have short grass, I want to make it lighter. So basically, we want to go the other way around. So previously we only went darker, now we also want to make it lighter. And of course, we could possibly fix this. Yeah, or the idea is more that, okay, so when we have tall grass, we make the bottom darker. When we have short grass, we want to make the bottom a little bit more grass colored. That's what we want to do. What's up, Skafer? What a nice, beautiful star. And this is a little bit of an easier problem, because all we need to care about is this one. This is the method that generates ground the ground color. Also, I want to add a task for this issue we're seeing here as well. Do we have triangulation artifact on ground coloring? Okay, but this one should be easier. So basically, we want this value, the closer we or the taller more towards this color, the taller the grass is, more towards this color, the shorter the grass is. So we should be able to only multiply this one with some variable. Probably gonna use a few variables here. That's not entirely true. This is T subdivision is a distance based variable as well, so we need to keep that in mind. But I wonder if one could do saturate. Yo, what's up, Emmett? Thank you for the prime. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So we want to offset it by, I'm gonna try and do terrain-data.g. This one is 0 for no grass, 1 for a lot of grass. So we want it the other way around. So if we do 1 minus, we get 0 for a lot of grass, 1 for no grass. Is this enough? Yeah, that's quite ugly, honestly. So for a lot of grass, we still have the dark green. For short grass, we have this. Yeah, we want to multiply it with some value. And we can do, let's introduce one more property. We're gonna debug grass ground. Debug. Yeah, I'm gonna name it debug for now. I'm gonna rename it later on, hopefully. Grass bottom multiplier. And we say 0.0 by default. And then we take this one and we put it down here. And then we take that one and we multiply this one with it. So it's basically, if this one is 0, don't take any of this into account. The bigger this one is, take more and more of this into account. So by default this one is 0, so we get the original look of the grass. And then if we take this patch and we increase this one a little bit. 0. If we just go to 0.4, it's way too bright, I would say. 2 better, 1. Wondering, is the interpolation between grass straw color and ground? Ooh, are we doing the wrong interpolation? Like this color is just looks plain bad for this one. This doesn't look that good either, honestly. One more thing I noticed. 0. Let's leave this one at 0. What's up, Kraken Baba Boy? Nice name. So one thing I noticed, we also T subdivision, grass lower. I think, yeah, we also want to implement that one in here. Because right now we can see that if we put this onto 1, the bottom of the grass straws, they still have the same color as if this ground color would be 0, which means that the contrast between ground and grass is too big, which gives us this ugly visuals. The only problem being that this one, yeah, we pretty much want to include this one. So do we actually want to do plus here? Is that enough? Yeah, we don't have terrain data. We have terrain data grass though. And now if we make this one bigger, does it affect the grass? No. Oh yeah, because we want to do take this one and we want to put it, Jesus, this is a mess. I wonder if we want to put it here. And Kraken Baba Boy, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. 0 as it was, 1 way too bright. I wonder if this actually 0.1. Not a big fan of the interpolated color we get here. It's, yeah, not a big fan at all. 0.2105. Nah, I think we want to decouple this one from the other interpolations and do some other thing. I think. So the solution we want is not to make this interpolation more complicated and not to make this interpolation more complicated. What we would prefer in this case, I think, is to do some calculations to this one before we do this interpolation and before we do this interpolation. That would give us way more control. Way more control. Kraken Baba Boy, it's going pretty good actually. I think. How about yours? Like when it comes to this green color underneath all the grass, yeah, I want way more control. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately I'm just gonna have to do this today. Going to, yeah, and then we do add additional color lerp for grass lower color multiplier. for main lerp. Do the same in the grass geometry method. Yeah. I hope this will help a lot. So it's basically going to be, we have grass lower color multiply right now. We do the same for short grass and tall grass. I think we're gonna split it. So we have grass, short grass lower color multiplier and tall grass lower color multiplier. And that's what we're gonna do. And by the way, Tutu Apps, hope you had a nice stream. Kraken Bubba Boy, I just started learning Unity, so you know. ... Hey, I know. Can be tough sometimes. And thank you for the kind words, appreciate it. And yeah, right now this is a solo project. Been working on it kinda slow on and off for a couple of years, and this year's I started to like increase the intensity, and the progress so far this year has been very good. So yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do tomorrow. So unfortunately I have to run now. I have some other stuff I need to take care of. But I said it earlier today, and I think I'm gonna reiterate on it. Tomorrow will probably, tomorrow will most likely be the last grass-related stream in a while. We're gonna move on to some other stuff. Haven't really decided what those are just yet. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, everybody. Appreciate it, and have a great rest of the day. GG's indeed.